The silence in the opulent Manhattan penthouse was suddenly fractured by a demand so audacious it felt unreal. "Take the guest room," my husband Adrian announced, spreading cream cheese on his artisanal bagel with the concentration of a surgeon. When my pregnant sister and her husband showed up unannounced, or move out, "It's your choice." Behind him, his sister, Serafina, stood in the doorway of my kitchen, one hand resting on her swollen belly. Her smile, sharp and possessive, felt like a physical threat. "Actually," she added, trailing her fingers along my custom-built granite countertop, "it would be great if you're gone by the weekend. We need to start the nursery transformation immediately." The lucrative $30 million tech merger contract I had been meticulously reviewing slipped from my grasp. Pages fluttered onto the Italian marble floor, representing the culmination of 15 years as a top-tier corporate CEO woman and female entrepreneur. This penthouse, with its spectacular floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, was my sanctuary, paid for with my sweat, my strategic mind, and my ability to solve problems that made corporate executives lose sleep. I stood in my home office, still wearing my reading glasses, trying to process the sheer audacity of this marital betrayal. "Excuse me?" The words came out steady, which surprised me. Inside, my chest felt hollow, like an echo chamber where disbelief mingled with a rising, icy fury. Adrian, the man I had financially supported, whose student loans I had paid off, whose pathetic career I had advanced through my business connections, didn't even look up from his breakfast preparation. "Serafina and Jasper need stability during the pregnancy," he recited, clearly speaking lines rehearsed behind my back. "The master suite has the space they need, and the attached bathroom is essential for her morning sickness." At 38, Alara Vance, CEO of Vance Global Consulting, had built something substantial. My company employed a team that depended entirely on my leadership and vision. Just yesterday, I had shared news of the $30 million tech merger with my mother in Ohio, hearing the pride swell in her voice. Now, I watched the man who vowed to cherish me casually evict me from the life I had created. "Adrian," I stated, setting my coffee mug down carefully on the marble, "this is my home. I own this penthouse. The deed is in my name. We're married," he countered, finally meeting my eyes with a cold, calculated look of someone holding a rigged hand. "That makes it our home, and family needs come first." Serafina moved deeper into the kitchen, already visualizing her takeover. "These will be perfect for all the baby's organic food storage," she murmured, already erasing me from the space. Jasper, her husband, appeared behind her, carrying 2 large suitcases. He gave me a polite, utterly dismissive nod, the kind one reserves for unwanted service staff. "I have the Henderson presentation at 3 p.m., I said, my voice tight. "We're restructuring their entire Asian supply chain. I have commitments." "Then you better get packing quickly," Serafina chirped, her hand making those slow, circular motions on her belly. "The movers will be here soon to set up the nursery furniture." Movers. They had arranged the movers before even telling me. The absurdity and the scale of the premeditated theft crashed over me. I was being instructed to pack my belongings like a college student being kicked out of a dorm. The unspoken accusation hung heavy in the air, all those nights building my entrepreneurial success, instead of playing the devoted wife, had finally come back to haunt me. "The guest room," Adrian began, "is temporary, just until they get settled." Serafina laughed, a high, tinkling sound that made my skin crawl. "Adrian, stop pretending. We all know this is better for everyone. Alara is always working anyway. She barely uses this place. The home where I had installed a library of first editions, where I had thought I was building a life with a partner who valued me as more than a convenient bank account. I retrieved my phone, scrolling to the contact for Mr. Kenji Sato, the CEO in Singapore who had been courting me for months with an offer that would triple my income. I had turned him down 3 times because Adrian had begged me to stay. Now a tectonic plate shifted inside me. I let the call go to voicemail and slipped the phone into my pocket, the weight of the missed opportunity settling like a stone. That night, after fading sleep, I padded barefoot to my home office. Adrian's password was predictably a pathetic variation of our anniversary. I logged into his desktop and found the evidence of the conspiracy, an email folder labeled Project Legacy. The messages were a roadmap to their financial abuse. They dated back 7 months. Serafina had written, "Jules, she won't fight us ... Just tell her it's temporary," and she accepted. Adrian's reply made my hands shake with righteous rage. "You're right. She has plenty of money anyway. She won't even notice the financial adjustment." Financial adjustment. I was a commodity, a budget line item to be exploited. I scrolled through weeks of planning, their strategizing on timing, waiting until after my biggest contract close so I'd be too exhausted to properly resist. One message from 2 weeks ago, however, was the ultimate low blow. Adrian was frantically digging into my deceased father's life insurance and non-existent family trust fund till my phone rang. My mother. "Morning, Mom," I answered, trying to mask the tremor in my voice. "Alara, honey, something strange happened yesterday." Adrian called me. He was asking about your father's insurance policy, wanting to know if there were investments we hadn't told him about. The room spun. He was so certain of my hidden wealth. He was willing to disturb my grieving mother with questions about her dead husband's finances. I lied smoothly, ending the call quickly. Returning to the emails, a new message from Serafina had just arrived. The movers are confirmed for noon. Once her stuff is in the guest room, phase 2 begins. Dad's lawyer says if she abandons the marital home, it strengthens Jay's position for the asset division. Asset division? They were planning for a divorce I hadn't even contemplated, positioning me as the one who abandoned the marriage by leaving the home they were forcing me out of. I systematically screenshot everything, emailing the evidence to my secure personal cloud storage. I was no longer an emotional wife. I was a corporate strategist preparing for a hostile takeover. I cleared the browser history, letting them think their secret remained safe before returning to the small, miserable guest room, the launching pad for my inevitable triumph. I stood in that cramped guest room, the air thick with dust and the smell of abandoned dreams. The Kenji Sato International folder heavy in my hand. Mr. Sato, the CEO from Singapore, had been courting me for months with an offer that would triple my income and included a luxury apartment overlooking Marina Bay. I'd refused 3 times because Adrian had begged me to stay. Promising we were partners and our life in New York meant everything. Now, the weight of that missed opportunity settled, and I knew exactly what had to be done. "I'm going to give them exactly what they want," I murmured, looking at the screenshots of their chilling conspiracy. "And then I'm going to disappear with everything they never knew they needed." The time for tears was over. The time for strategic action had begun. This was my revenge blueprint. My first call was to Vivian Sterling, my corporate attorney who specialized in high net worth divorce. Her office smelled of expensive leather and old money, the scent of legal protection. "The penthouse lease is in your name only," she confirmed, studying the documents. "Adrian insisted on it years ago to shield his non-existent assets from your business liability. The irony is exquisite. You can terminate the lease with 60 days notice, or, more simply, remove them as guests." We then executed the crucial next step, asset isolation, Wednesday morning. I was at Chase Bank with my personal banker, Thomas. The joint account held a paltry $3,043, which was money for groceries and utilities. Everything else, the real wealth, was locked down in my business accounts. completely out of reach for a man who saw me as an easily manipulated ATM. I need to close the joint account and remove Adrian as a beneficiary from absolutely everything, I instructed. In minutes, Adrian's expensive lifestyle evaporated. The credit cards he used for his golf club membership, his wine subscription, his expensive client lunches, all canceled with a few keystrokes. The next time he tried to use them, he'd face the first public sign of his impending financial collapse. My second call was to Mr. Kenji Sato's assistant in Singapore. Send the contract, I said, the decision solidifying my resolve. I'll sign it today. I can be in Singapore in 2 weeks. The $250,000 signing bonus would be deposited. Upon contract execution, more than enough to begin my new life and cement my status as a successful entrepreneurial woman. Thursday was all about logistics. I met with a premier moving company. The lead coordinator, Marcus, was impressed by my military-grade meticulousness. Every item I had purchased, the custom sectional sofa, the Norwegian marble kitchen island, the smart home system, was marked with a green dot for removal. Adrian's and his sister's meager possessions were marked with red. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. sharp, Marcus confirmed. 3 trucks, 20 men. We'll have you cleared out in 4 hours. This was no mere move. It was a calculated corporate takeover of my own life. That evening, Friday, Serafina decided to host a dinner party, her final self-congratulatory performance in my home. Julian's colleagues and their wives clustered in my living room, admiring the view I paid for, the art I collected. Serafina floated among them, accepting compliments on her exquisite taste. We've worked so hard to make it perfect for the baby. She P-U-R-R-E-D. Mrs. Wheeler, the senior partner's wife, cornered me. I'm sorry, but who are you? Are you with the catering team? The room went hushed. I'm Alara Vance, Adrian's wife. I own this penthouse. I'm simply staying in the guest room temporarily while Serafina and Jasper prepare for their baby. The confusion rippling through the room was almost worth the humiliation. I retreated to the kitchen, where Jasper found me, wine slurring his already minimal filter. You know, you're really lucky, Alara, he boasted, leaning against my custom refrigerator. Serafina wanted you gone completely day one. But Adrian's smart man said, no. We need her rent money for a few more weeks, just until the next bonus cycle. He mimed, tossing garbage. Then you can go. Rent money. I wasn't just being replaced. I was being squeezed dry first, then discarded. At 10:30 p.m., Seraphine's hand flew to her stomach. Oh no, Adrian, something's wrong. A perfectly timed, manufactured emergency. They rushed out, leaving me with 12 confused guests. Alara will handle cleanup, Adrian called over his shoulder. The ultimate act of disrespect. I cleaned not as a wife, but as a woman meticulously preparing the stage for the ultimate revenge. Later that night, my friend Sarah sent the final, devastating piece of evidence, screenshots of Seraphine's private Instagram. Posts from months ago, cannot wait to raise our baby here, dated 2 weeks before she'd announced her pregnancy. This wasn't a sudden invasion, it was a premeditated heist. And I had been the mark all along. Saturday morning felt like Independence Day. I woke at 5 a.m., showered in the pathetic guest bathroom with its inconsistent water pressure, and dressed with the surgical precision of someone conducting a hostile corporate takeover. At 7:45 a.m., I stood in the lobby, watching through the glass doors as the 3 large moving trucks pulled onto our street. Robert, the doorman, gave me a knowing nod. Big day, Miss Whitmore. The biggest, Robert, I confirmed. And it's Miss Vance now. At 8 a.m., 20 professional movers, coordinated with military efficiency by Marcus, flooded the penthouse. The operation was fast, silent, and systematic. Up empty, down full. My custom sectional sofa went first, then the dining table where Serafina had played host just hours before. Each piece removed felt like the severing of a tumor, necessary and profoundly overdue. The noise finally roused the occupiers. Jasper emerged first in silk pajamas, rubbing his eyes. What's happening? Why are there people here? I'm moving out, I said simply, checking off items on my list. Serafina suggested I should leave by the weekend. I'm simply taking her advice. He watched in horror as the movers carried the 85-inch old television I had bought myself. Wait, you can't take that. We use that. You use things I paid for, Jasper, I corrected, maintaining an unnerving calm. There's a difference between using and owning. Seraphine's entrance was full-blown melodrama. She flew out, clutching her silk robe. Stop right now. This is insane. This is theft. I pulled out my phone and swiped to the folder of receipts. Would you like to see the receipts, Serafina? The sofa, purchased from my business account. The dining table, my annual bonus. The kitchen appliances, all mine. Every single piece. But we live here. She sputtered, watching my valuable artwork disappear into protective blankets. You live in a space I'm no longer paying for, I clarified. How you choose to furnish it is entirely your concern. Adrian emerged last disheveled and finally comprehending the scale of my revenge. Alara, we need to talk about this. Let's be reasonable. The phrase he always used when he wanted me to capitulate. We needed to talk before you ambushed me with your sister's invasion. Adrian, that window has closed. Extreme was suggesting I move to a storage room. This is just practical. Where are we supposed to sleep? He asked, genuinely bewildered, as movers wheeled our California king bed past us. That sounds like a you problem, Adrian. Perhaps Jasper's creative consulting can manifest a solution. Serafina clutched her belly. How can you do this to a pregnant woman? To your family? Family doesn't exile family to storage rooms. Family doesn't plan secret coups for 7 months. Family doesn't treat each other like unwanted tenants in their own homes. As the last boxes were loaded, Marcus approached. I pulled out the final document. The lease. This lease is in my name alone, Adrian. I paused, letting the silence scream in the empty apartment. You insisted on it, remember? To protect your assets from any potential business liability. The building management has already been notified. As of Monday, you are trespassing. You have 48 hours. The words hung like a death sentence. But where will we go? Seraphine's voice cracked. That's no longer my concern. The elevator ride down felt like ascending from hell into daylight. Robert held the lobby door open as I walked through for the last time. My car was already packed with my essentials and my grandmother's pearls. The drive to JFK took exactly 53 minutes, during which my phone rang continuously. I was already over the Pacific when I listened to the voicemails, a symphony of desperation and panic. Adrian's messages devolved from authoritative commands to pathetic pleading. Seraphine's were pure hysteria, and his mother's, Eleanor, were only concerned about the family reputation. 3 months later, I stood on my balcony overlooking the vibrant Singapore skyline. My office at Kenji Sato International was a corner suite, my title a testament to my true worth as a corporate titan. Thought the full collapse of their lives was confirmed by my friend, Sarah. Adrian was restructured out of his job, corporate speak for fired, due to the public scandal. He was living in his childhood bedroom in Connecticut, a 43-year-old dependent on his parents. Serafina and Jasper had found cramped housing in Queens. One Tuesday morning, I finally answered a call from Serafina. Adrian said, "You have a trust fund?" She sobbed, desperation making her shrill. He said there was inheritance money you were hiding. Where is it, Alara? We need it. Serafina, I said, my voice calm, professional. There is no trust fund. There never was. Every luxury you've enjoyed all came from my consulting firm. The business Adrian called my little hobby. He lied to you, Serafina. You've been conned by your own brother. They had wanted me gone, erased from their picture. But in removing me, they had removed the foundation everything else rested on. I hadn't destroyed them. I had simply stopped propping them up. Standing there, watching the lights of Singapore, I knew that walking away wasn't giving up. It was the greatest victory of all.